He didn't say hello, didn't ask how I'd been, didn't apologize for 5 years of silence. He just sat down across from me in the hospital lobby, leaned forward, and said, "If you don't do it, he dies." No warmth. No panic, just a command dressed up as urgency. His son. My nephew. 6 years old. Leukemia. The family searched for a donor. Only one match, me, I'm Elia. And in that moment, I learned exactly where I stood in their story. Not as a sister. Not as a daughter. As a last resort. The last time I saw Merrick was at Dad's funeral. He gave a speech that made the crowd cry, then ignored me the whole night. Today, he was looking at me, not because he missed me, because he needed my body. I didn't say yes, didn't say no. I just looked down at the folder he shoved into my hands. Medical reports, donor compatibility, consent form already signed. By me, except I'd never seen it before. The signature was mine, same angle, same slant, but it wasn't mine. I turned the page. Voluntary consent for bone marrow donation. Dated, witnessed, approved. Except I'd never held a pen, never met the doctor listed, never even agreed to be tested. I didn't sign this, I said. Merrick didn't blink. Mom said you'd say that. Like it was a script. Like denying a forged document made me the liar. I scanned the insurance form. Group ID. Policy number. Then a red highlighted line. Donor approved under dependent waiver. I felt it in my spine. That cold, sinking certainty. That this wasn't a request. It was a transaction. I looked up. You forged my consent. Merrick leaned back. You owe us, Elia. We raised you. Funny, I don't remember being raised, I remember being managed. Birthdays missed. Photos cropped. One chair always slightly outside the frame. This wasn't about saving his son. It was about control. And in that moment, I understood. They didn't see me as family. They saw me as inventory. I took the folder with me, not because I trusted them, but because I needed leverage. The hospital's insurance office was half closed. A bored rep in a wrinkled vest looked up as I approached. Policy number? He asked. I read it off the form. He typed. Frowned, typed again. Slower. We have 2 files linked to that number. That stopped me, too. Yeah, he said. Same birthday, same face. One under Elia Hale, one under Elia Monroe. The name hit like static in my ears. Monroe? I hadn't heard that name since I was a kid. Since Mom burned a letter addressed to it. Since she snapped. That name doesn't exist in this house. What does the Monroe file say? I asked. He hesitated. I shouldn't show you. I leaned in. I'm already in it. Show me. He turned the screen. Same photo. Same blood type. Same birth date. But different contact, different origin, different mother, and one glaring red stamp at the bottom, no legal adoption filed. That's when it landed. I wasn't a second-class citizen in my own family. I was never legally part of it at all. I was 11 when it arrived. A letter, cream envelope, slanted handwriting, no return address. It was the only thing in the mailbox that wasn't a bill. Someone sent me something, I said. Mom snatched it from my hands, didn't read it, didn't ask. She walked to the kitchen, struck a match, and dropped the envelope in the sink. The flame was fast. Orange, hungry, then water, ash, silence. You don't need to know everything, she said, washing the smoke down the drain. I didn't ask again. Not when the school secretary called me Elia M. Not when the pediatrician asked if I had dual insurance. Not when Merrick once joked, "You're not even one of us." I filed it all away. Misunderstandings. Static, background noise, but it wasn't noise, it was a pattern. And the fire was the first cover-up. She hadn't protected me. She'd quarantined me, kept me close enough to claim, but far enough to cut loose. And now they wanted my marrow, after erasing my name. After burning the only truth that ever had a stamp. That wasn't a family. That was storage. Laura didn't smile when she saw me. Good lawyers don't. She took the folder, flipped through it, page by page. No questions, just nods and notes. Until one line made her stop. Dependent waiver, she read aloud. That only applies if legal guardianship was transferred. She turned to her laptop, typed, paused, typed again, then looked up. There's no record. What do you mean? I asked. I mean no adoption, no guardianship, no Monroe to Hale conversion, just nothing, like it was started and never finished. Unfiled, that word again, like a warning. I wasn't adopted. I wasn't claimed. I was just held. Long enough to be useful, convenient, covered. 28 years of birthdays, taxes, doctor's visits, all based on a lie they never bothered to make legal. So what does that mean? I asked. Laura leaned back. It means you're not responsible for anything. Not the consent, not the coverage, not the donation. I nodded, not out of relief, but recognition. I hadn't just fallen through the cracks. They debuilt the cracks for me. I didn't go back to the hospital. I went home. Sat on the edge of the bed I grew up in. The one near the wall with no photos, and I waited. At 9:17 p.m. the door opened. No knock, just Merrick's voice behind it. You've had time, what's it gonna be? I tapped my phone, voice memo, red circle, recording. You forged my consent, I said. He didn't deny it, didn't blink. You wouldn't have signed it. We didn't have time for another one of your moods. Your moods, like trauma was a tantrum, like distrust was drama. Then came Mom. We gave you everything, Elia, a home, a name, a future. No, I said, you gave me silence. And now you're mad I learned how to use it. Merrick exhaled. You're being ungrateful. This isn't about you. But it always was. My blood, my name, my body. They thought I'd stay quiet, because that's what I'd always done. But I didn't raise my voice. I just let them speak. The red light on my screen kept blinking, recording every word, every lie, every truth they never meant to say out loud. At 6:08 a.m., I sent the recording to Laura. Subject line, verbal admission, consent fraud. I prepared to go public. By 6:21, she replied, confirming media release package. You sure you want it loud? I answered with 2 words, let it echo. At 9:00 sharp, the hospital hosted a press event. Balloons, step and repeat banner, a headline about family strength and medical miracles. Merrick stood at the podium. Mom hovered behind him, both dressed in calculated humility. They thanked the donors, smiled for the flashbulbs, gave a carefully worded tribute to my sister, Elia, always so private. That was my cue. I stepped through the back entrance. Visitor badge clipped to my coat, manila folder in hand, flash drive in my pocket. I walked to the podium when the cameras started packing up. No rage, no tears, just facts. I have a clarification to make, I said. Phones lifted, whispers flared. This, I held up a stamped form, is my official donor screening. It states I'm not a match, not partial, not close. This flash drive, I said, contains a recording of both parties admitting they forged my consent. Gasps now, lights turning back on. Security inching forward, but hesitating, and then the final page. This is my birth certificate. Name, Elia Monroe. Mother, Margaret Monroe. No legal adoption. No transfer of guardianship. No claim to the name Hale. Ever. I looked directly at the crowd, then at them. I wasn't your daughter, wasn't your sister, I was your contingency plan. I placed the folder down, then stepped back, and let the truth burn brighter than their stage lights. No one clapped. No one moved. Mom stared like the world had slipped sideways. Merrick opened his mouth. But no sound came out. A reporter raised his mic. "Do you plan to sue?" I didn't flinch. I don't need money. I needed space to speak. Now I have it. Mom stepped forward. "Elia, wait." I shook my head. "That's not my name, not legally, not anymore." She froze, like hearing it said aloud broke something permanent, and maybe it did. Security didn't stop me. No one did. I walked out of the building, past the cameras, past the crowd, past the people who once claimed me, into air that finally felt mine. In the parking lot, I opened my notes app, typed a sentence. You don't need to scream to end a story. You just need to walk out of it. Then I hit save, and for the first time in my life, the silence I carried didn't belong to them. It belonged to me. 3 days later, it came. No return address, no name, just a plain envelope slipped under my door. Inside, one folded piece of notebook paper, handwritten in blue ink. Careful but shaky. "Hi, I saw your story. I'm 17. I didn't know I could say no either. They told me I was chosen, but it never felt like a choice. I thought being quiet made me safe, but you made me think maybe silence just made me small. Thank you for making noise. Thank you for making space." There was no signature, just one word at the bottom, "free." I read it twice, then again, not because I needed validation, but because I needed to remember. Truth doesn't echo in applause. It echoes in the people who finally whisper back. At the county clerk's office, the woman behind the glass slid me a form. "Name change request." I nodded. She handed me a pen. I didn't hesitate. No middle names, no hyphens. No tribute to a family that never claimed me. Just 2 words. Elia Marrow, mine by blood, mine by choice, mine without permission. When the stamp hit the page, it didn't sound like ceremony. It sounded like a lock clicking open. Outside, the sky was gray, the kind of gray people call dull. But to me, it looked honest. No theatrics, no bright, borrowed light, just weather, real. I walked home, not to the Hale house, not to any place that required an invitation, to a small apartment, one window, one shelf, one future, and on the desk, that letter, still unfolded, still unsigned. I placed a sticky note beneath it. "You're not here to repay what they took. You're here to build what they never could." Then I opened my laptop. A blank document, cursor blinking, waiting for the voice they once tried to mute, and I started writing, not for them, for the girl who never got to exist, until I said she could.